While Seoul and Pyongyang are still technically at war, these reunions are the latest steps towards easing tensions on the Korean Peninsula. Jenny Town is managing editor of online DPRK monitoring site 38 North and a research analyst at the Stimson Center, a think tank working to enhance international peace and security. Welcome to the show. I want to begin by asking you about these family reunions. Nearly 20,000 people have participated in the 20 rounds of face-to-face reunions since the year 2000, but no one or very few people have had a chance to see their families once again. So talk to us about what these reunions really meant for these families.
There's so much emotional value to having these reunions. These families have been separated, and this isn't just distant relatives we're talking about. This is a generation that these are their brothers and sisters, or their parents, their families, their aunts and uncles. This is first generation, very nuclear families that have been separated, for 70 years, and really, remember what it was like before that separation as well. And so for them to have this opportunity to see their family members is so important to them, especially as they get older, especially, as they wonder what happened to their family members, because it's not just they haven't had contact, but they haven't had any contact at all to even know the fate of how their family has really evolved over the years. Right,
Jenny. So looking ahead, what are the prospects of having regularized or institutionalized meetings between these separated families, given the warmer or seemingly warmer ties between the two Koreas?
Unfortunately, I don't think I think it's still a long way off before we have a sort of institutionalized, frequent visits. And I think it's unfortunate, given the age of these family members. But, a lot has to happen in terms of really developing the political relationship in order to make this happen. And I really do think that if we don't have, for instance, the interKorean economic cooperation that the South Koreans have been promising and the North Koreans have been wanting, even these humanitarian acts and these, these family reunions will start to stall as well.
So we're looking at another, which will be a third inter-Korea summit between Moon Jae-in and Kim Jong-un. What are your expectations of that meeting?
I think there's some difficult discussions that are coming up because, both sides are somewhat eager to restart inter-Korean economic cooperation, but are really faced with the dilemma of what to do about sanctions, UN sanctions and US sanctions, and how not to violate, for the South Korean side, how not to violate those sanctions in trying to move forward. And there's not a lot of leeway there right now. And I know that there have been discussions from the South Koreans trying to get exemptions in order to kickstart this process. But there does become a point where North Korean expectations seem to be pretty high at the moment. And if those aren't met, that again, you're going to see the frustration set in and you're going to start to see stalling in the relationship.
Another major player is, of course, the United States. Where do you see the US DPRK relations stand after the Kim-Trump summit in Singapore?
Clearly, it's come to a bit of an impasse at the moment, and I think both sides have unrealistic expectations of how quickly they can move on what they feel should be easy decisions. And I think it's important to keep in mind that, the Singapore summit, the declaration was really only an agenda. It wasn't a technical agreement. There were no details there setting the expectations. And so, now we really have to negotiate the rest of it, and that negotiation, people just don't seem to have the appetite to do the work that needs to be done in order for both sides to come away with a mutually beneficial response.
Jenny Town, managing editor of 38 North, thank you for your time.